Hello everyone. In this video lecture, we are going to discuss about notice and claim given under Employees Compensation Act. So far, we have discussed the employer's liability to pay compensation and the amount of compensation, how it is calculated and how it is to be deposited with the commissioner, who then disburses this amount to the employee or his or her dependents. In this lecture, we are discussing the two important steps for getting this amount of compensation. So the first step is notice and the second is claim. This twofold process has to be followed by every employee in case they want to get compensation for an injury sustained by them through an accident arising out of and in the course of employment. First aspect is about notice. So if an employee who is entitled to get compensation wants to claim the compensation, the first step is to give a notice of the accident in writing to the employer. Such notice must be given as soon as practicable after the happening of the accident. The particulars of the notice are there on your screen. That is name and address of the injured person. The notice must state in ordinary language the cause of the injury, and third, it must indicate the date on which the accident happened. These are the three important components that have to be present in the notice, which the employee has to mandatorily serve to the employer as soon as practicable after the accident has taken place. Now, Section 10 of the Act deals with notice. For serving this notice, there are two ways of doing it. First is by either delivering it or sending it by registered post to the address of the residence or office or place of business of the employer. If it is one employer, then it is to that person only. If there are more than one employers, then it could be served upon any one of the employers or an agent or management, any person who is responsible for the management of a particular branch of that business or company. So whoever is an employer as per the definition of this act, the notice can be served on that person. And second way of serving the notice is by entry in the notice book. Now, what is this notice book? The state government may require, if it thinks fit, that a prescribed class of employers or a specific group of employers or companies or industries have to maintain a notice book which is readily accessible and available at all reasonable times to any injured employee or to any person who is acting in bona fide on behalf of this injured employee. So this notice book is like a register where entry into that notice book is considered as serving a notice to the employer. So if, say, a notice book is available in a factory and the employee meets with an accident, any person on behalf of this injured employee can make an entry in that notice book and it will be considered as a notice being served to the employer as per Section 10. Now, this notice book, you have to keep in mind, is not mandatory for all industries or establishments. It is only in those establishments or factories or industries where the state government has specifically asked to the employers to maintain such a notice book. So this serving of the notice to the employer is the first step towards compensation. The second step is the claim for compensation. Now, notice is served to the employer, but the claim for compensation is preferred before the Employees Compensation Commissioner. Now, as we discussed in the previous lecture, that any amount of compensation that is to be paid is to be deposited with the commissioner who is appointed under this act. So the claim for compensation also has to be filed before this commissioner only. The claim for compensation is not given to the employer directly. And what is the time limit for giving this claim? In case of disablement, it is within 2 years of occurrence of the accident, and in case of death, it is within 2 years from the date of death. As the case may be, the claim accordingly is preferred before the commissioner. In case of accident resulting in disablement, the employee himself or herself can file the claim within 2 years from the date of the accident, and in case of death of the employee, the dependents can file the claim within 2 years from the date of death. Unless the notice of the accident has been given to the employer as soon as practicable after the happening of the accident, and unless the claim is preferred within 2 years, as the case may be, from the date of death or from the date of accident, no claim for compensation shall be entertained by the commissioner. So this is mandatory to be followed. This time limit is very, very important in case you want the claim for compensation to be processed by the commissioner. The time limit has to be strictly adhered to. If the accident is an occupational disease, or if the disablement or death as per the result of an occupational disease, then you naturally do not have a fixed date of the accident. So in those situations, the accident shall be deemed to have occurred on the first of the days during which the employee was continuously absent from work in consequence of the disablement caused by the disease, which means that as a result of the occupational disease, I have suffered from some disablement, and because of this disablement, I have had to remain absent from work, say for a period of 10 days continuously. Then the first of that 10th day is considered as the date of accident. So from that day, within 2 years, I can file for compensation. In case of partial disablement as a result of occupational disease, which does not force the employee to remain absent from work, that is, I do not have to take leave from work, the period of this 2 years within which claim has to be filed is counted from the date on which the notice is served to the employer. So there are two situations here. One, where as a result of occupational disease, the employee has to remain absent from work. Then in that case, the first day on which he remains absent from work for a continuous period, that first day is the date of the accident. Within 2 years from that date, the claim can be filed. And the second is that even though there is an occupational disease, the employee need not remain absent from work. Then the date on which the notice is served to the employer, from that date 2 years is given as the time limit for claim of compensation. The Act also further recognizes that if the employee has ceased to work in the particular establishment, that he is no longer an employee, say he has either quit from work or he has retired from work, he ceases to be an employee, and after that, within 2 years of cessation of the employment, he has developed symptoms of the occupational disease which is peculiar to that employment, then even those cases he or she can claim compensation, and the date of accident will be the date on which the symptoms were first detected. So this is also specifically recognized in the Act. So it does not cover only employees who are in employment, but it also covers employees who have ceased to be employees for that particular industry. As long as the occupational disease is peculiar or is specific to that employment only in those cases or those situations within 2 years from cessation of employment. If the symptoms have developed, then the date on which the symptom was first detected is taken as the date of accident, and within 2 years from that date the claim for compensation can be filed. Now there are certain exceptions to this general rule of notice. There is no exception to the time limit for claim. The claim has to be filed within the 2-year limit, but in some situations the notice to be given to the employer can be waived off. There are 3 such exceptions. First, if the employer had knowledge of the accident from any other source at or about the time when it occurred. So if the accident has taken place and the employer already has the knowledge of that accident, which means either the employer was present at the time of the accident or in or around the time when the accident occurred has already heard of the accident from some other source, then in those situations the notice may be waived off by the commissioner. Either can be waived off, or in case of any defect or irregularity in the notice, it shall not be a bar to entertain the claim. Second, where the commissioner is satisfied that the failure to give notice was due to sufficient cause. So if he is satisfied that the failure to give the notice was due to a sufficient cause and the employee could not have either given the notice, or whatever is the defect in the notice is due to some sufficient cause, then the commissioner can overlook the defect or can waive off the notice. It will not be a bar or obstruction in entertaining or in processing the claim that the employee has filed. And the third exception is if the claim is in respect of death of the employee from an accident which occurred on the premises of the employer or the place of employment. At the time of accident, the employee was working under the control of the employer. Now here you have to keep in mind that this recognizes only death of the employee, not disablements. So if the accident takes place in the premises of the employer or in any other premises which is under the control of the employer where the employee was working, and the accident takes place and results in the death of the employee, then in that case the notice is waived off. The commissioner can make an exception to the general rule of a notice being served to the employer. So even if no notice is given, a claim will nonetheless be processed or entertained by the commissioner. So to sum it up, there are 3 aspects to notice and claim. First is that the notice of accident has to be given to the employer as soon as practicable after the accident has taken place. Second is that the claim for compensation is filed before the commissioner within 2 years from the date of the accident or death of the employee. And third is the exceptions to the general rule of notice, that under 3 different situations, the commissioner has the power or discretion to entertain a claim of compensation even though there is some defect or irregularity in the notice. That completes your topic of notice and claim under the Act. If you have any doubts with respect to that, please post it in the discussion forum on the website.